Good evening, everyone. This is Ron Tyler with Emergency Management Associates coming to you from the crossroads of the West in Salt Lake City, Utah. The time right now is 6:11 p.m. We are running just a few minutes behind schedule. We had an issue with the technical portion of our broadcast, and we had to reboot our computer at the last minute. So that is why we're running a few minutes behind schedule. We apologize for that. We have been very busy today. I have news for you, and I am going to start off the program with that news. I want to advise you that San Francisco was just announced a short time ago. San Francisco's 6.7 million people will be prohibited from leaving their homes officially on lockdown, except for essential personnel and business, beginning at midnight tonight. We have received word from 6 high-ranking government officials, still not 100% confirmed. The lockdown phase here in the United States may officially start tonight or by Tuesday morning. Now, that is contrary to what the presidential news conference said earlier this afternoon. They were not sure if they were going to go on lockdown, but we have quite a few different sources, official sources that we have that have given us information about that. The reason I am passing that information on to you at this point in time. So if you have any last minute shopping to do, get it done now. And I mean now. The only time, from what I can gather in the last few days, the only time we'll be able to be allowed to leave our homes is to go to pick up something necessary at the store. And that's just about it. Also, ibuprofen, Advil may worsen the coronavirus symptoms, may worsen your symptoms. Okay? I'm only telling you this because this is the latest word that I have gotten. You need to use Tylenol. If you have questions about that, call your physician. Call your primary physician. Also, toilet paper, latex gloves. This is a breaking news story. Toilet paper, latex gloves, and cases of hand sanitizer were stolen from Brigham Young University, Idaho, in Rexburg, Idaho today. I don't know what thrill that people get from stockpiling toilet paper, latex gloves, and hand sanitizer. But I've been seeing this, we've all, I think, been seeing this at our different stores throughout our country and around the world for that matter. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, I wanted to bring to you a report that was actually first issued approximately 3 years ago, but it has come to light again in regards to the earthquakes in California. In regards to the earthquakes in California. It may not have the same recognition of the San Andreas Fault, but San Diego's Rose Canyon Fault is still capable of inflicting heavy damage. Now, I'm going to bring up a picture of the Rose Canyon Fault so you can all see it. Oh, this was not the one I wanted here. I'm sorry. Well, I'll let it play. Okay. Again, that was from the San Diego Union Tribune, September 2017. Now, I want to show you, well, I'm going to continue this. There is another video that is about touring the Rose Canyon Fault in San Diego. Now, why am I showing this to you? Because the Rose Canyon Fault was last irritated a while back. In 2010, there was a 7.0 magnitude earthquake over on the San Andreas Fault in Imperial County near El Centro, California. When this earthquake hit, it shook buildings in San Diego, and I've made mention of this earthquake on prior shows. Now someone brought this up earlier today, and I wanted to show you what the Rose Canyon Fault is. We've talked about other faults in Los Angeles and San Francisco, but rarely do any of the faults in and around San Diego get any news. That's why I'm covering it, so you'll be aware of what goes on with the faults in San Diego. Here's the second half of this report.
Look, people are living right here, right next to the fault.
Video from the beginning, I'm sorry, that was my fault. I'm going to take you back to the beginning and I'm going to play it again. So bear with me.
The big one, a major earthquake on the San Andreas Fault. Often exaggerated in movies, but a real danger to Southern California. Nothing like what you see here, of course. And computer models suggest it would actually be even less of a threat to us in our corner of the state. For San Diegans, the Rose Canyon fault system, running through our most populated areas, is the bigger concern. Though it hasn't had significant movement since European settlement, it is considered active and has potential for a magnitude 6 or 7 quake. There's a new park on the eastern edge of downtown that owes its existence to a section of this fault.
Primarily going to put out energy.
Dr. Pat Abbott, geology professor at San Diego State University, recently took the director of the county's Office of Emergency Services, Holly Crawford, and assistant director Stephen Ray on a tour of the fault, which begins here at Fault Line Park.
So members of the public might see that there's a fault obviously running right through this park and then this huge high-rise building. What would you expect if you were maybe in the top of this building as opposed to one of these lower buildings across the street?
Well, you know, it's interesting because buildings have periods or frequencies of movement just like seismic waves do. Now right here on this fault, that's the kind of seismic waves we're going to be getting are the real high frequency sorts of things. And they don't really bother the tall buildings like this that much. These kinds of seismic waves that are going to shake that building, that's the San Andreas Fault, east of the Salton Sea. When that comes in with those rolling kinds of waves like we had on Easter 6 years ago, that's going to make that building, oh boy, that'll be quite an experience. Not for danger, but just, I mean, you're going to get a ride that you'll remember for the rest of your life.
If the Rose Canyon Fault goes, the big concern is the older unreinforced buildings and, in newer buildings, heavy objects falling on people. The proximity to the physical fault line is not as much of a concern, which is why we still see new buildings going up downtown.
You know, here's another one of these urban fault parks. We're here at First and Market Street, and this nice little tree-filled park running between these buildings on this diagonal, this is another active fault that people have we cannot build on top of it because when the ground ruptures, it would break the building. But you know, interestingly enough, you know, when we look at the balconies, you say, well, golly, look, people are living right here, right next to the fault. Isn't that more dangerous? No, it's not. It doesn't really matter whether you're 50 feet or 5 miles away. Consider that the fault ruptures at 8 miles depth and the earthquake waves come straight up. It's about the same whether you're 5 miles away or you're right next to it. Kind of what's intuitive actually is not a problem. Being close is not a problem.
Moving out of downtown, we journey to the spot where the Rose Canyon Fault system first meets land in San Diego, just off the coast of La Jolla. A spot where you can see physical evidence of the power of an earthquake fault.
Well, we've come here to these beach cliffs in La Jolla Bay to view where a major fault comes on shore. You know, if we were up there in Orange County now, there'd be the Newport-Inglewood Fault. In 1933, the Long Beach earthquake, 115 people dead, that exact same fault up there. Here it is coming ashore in San Diego, and it's beautifully shown in these cliffs behind us here. This is part of the Rose Canyon Fault system. This one's called the Country Club Fault, but it's part of the Rose Canyon Fault zone. And you can see two very different types of rocks juxtaposed against each other. When we look at the rocks over here on the east side of the fault, we see sandstones interbedded with a lot of mudstones, tilted a bit here by the fault action, but a lot of layered sedimentary rocks, mostly mudstone. If we swing around to the other side and look at the other side of the fault, here on the west side, massive, thick sandstone beds, totally different rock layers. Here's the actual slippage along the fault surface. These rocks have moved maybe even as much as half a mile. Many major earthquakes occurred to separate these rocks. This isn't a one-time event. This is big earthquakes over and over and over again. These are landscape shaping events. Faults like this are the reasons why we have Mount Soledad. If it wasn't for these faults, there would be no Mount Soledad. The whole landscape would be flat.
In fact, following the fault over Mount Soledad and down Interstate 5, we come to Tecolote Park, where, tucked into the back corner of the baseball fields, there stands a direct acknowledgement of this fault, perhaps the only one in the city.
We hear so much about the San Andreas Fault, and I talk to people all the time who have never even heard of the Rose Canyon Fault, and you know, part of it might be due to the fact that we don't alert them or show them where that fault is.
This area right here, it wouldn't surprise me if today If it started moving down by the Coronado Bridge, came through downtown, Old Town, here up to Mount Soledad, a 15-mile length, 6.4 magnitude earthquake, roughly speaking, could happen today without any trouble whatsoever. On the other hand, it might be 200 years away, but that's the part we don't know. As harmless as this looks, this is a killer right before your eyes.
So as we wait for that quake, back where we started at Fault Line Park, you can visit a public art project that will help you keep an eye on any movement on this fault, however small.
I really like this installation here at Fault Line Park. This big sphere with a viewing tube right through the center goes across the active fault and lines up with the sphere over there. If you look through the center of this sphere here, the idea is, well, when the fault moves, the spheres will no longer line up. And you know, this is a great art installation, but you know, we geologists have been doing this for over 150 years, planting instruments on either side of a fault to try to catch the creep movement that takes place or the amount of total offset in a big earthquake. So here's art imitating science.
So if all this earthquake talk has got you motivated to prepare yourself for a disaster, visit readysandiego.org. Run by the county's Office of Emergency Services, the site provides everything.
So now you know a little bit more about the fault system in San Diego. When the San Andreas goes off, like we fully expect it to do within the next little while, when Cascadia goes, it's going to trigger this very same fault. Because what is going to happen, it's going to trigger the San Andreas, and everything up and down the length of California and into Mexico is going to be affected. That's why I wanted to show you this video today. Someone brought it to my attention. Now, I've been keeping an eye on San Diego for as long as I can remember. Again, I used to live there. So I've been watching this for a long, long time. And like I said, in 2010, that scientist from University of San Diego talked about, there was that 7.0 down there over on the San Andreas Fault, south of the Salton Sea that he talked about. And when that happened, those people in those high rises that he pointed out got a ride. And there was very little damage from that earthquake in San Diego. The people in those high rises got a ride. There was some broken glass in San Diego. There was some debris around, but it could have been worse. It could have been very much worse. So in talking about the earthquakes, we have to need to fully understand the extent of what is going to happen. We need to have a full understanding of what is going to happen. If we don't, then we're going to find ourselves in probably worse shape, because we're going to find ourselves in a position where we're going to have to figure things out. And I personally don't want to be in that position. I don't want to have to be worried about figuring things out at the last minute. I want to have that opportunity up front when it counts right now. I want us to be able to be prepared. Now, there's a lot more that we're going to discuss tonight about being prepared. First off, let's go over to another graphic that I have. Just a minute, I'm bringing that one up. Just have a shake here. Okay, every Monday night, we've been talking about Cascadia. Okay, today is no different. Right now, I am showing you what has happened over at Mount Rainier today. Okay, let's go back and show you what happened, that was earlier today, but I want to show you where we're at right now. Okay, this is today. Now, we came on the air at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. It's 5 p.m. where people are in Cascadia, Pacific Time. Okay, right now it's 6:31. It's 5:31 at Mount Rainier. But you see, we have movement. We also have these spikes right here. You're going to find out that those spikes are from steam venting going on. Steam venting going on. Wish this would hurry up. Okay, this is what happened last night up here at the top of the page here. This is the seismogram for earlier today, or actually yesterday evening. Okay, we see the steam venting going on, the steam eruption. That's what these spikes are. The spikes with these curlicues. These are steam eruptions going on, and they happened throughout the night. This is 1 a.m. today. You can see the magma infill going on every line going across the seismogram, and you can see the steam venting all over the place. It's been venting literally all day long, even up until now. You can see the venting going on. Again, this is Rainier Voigt Creek. Let's go to our next slide here. This is Trade Dollar Lake. Trade Dollar Lake. What we're looking at here, right here, is Mount St. Helens. Okay, this is last night at this same time period. You can see the magma infill going into the into and through the volcano. You can see it. It's very apparent. There was one minor earthquake here yesterday, and we showed it to you on our program last night. But you can see the magma infill here at Mount St. Helens. Okay, it's very apparent. Let's go to our next slide. This is East Dome Mount St. Helens. You don't see quite the action that you saw at the other slide. There's still magma infill going on, but it's not as exciting as you saw in that other slide. Here is that earthquake that we're talking about. You still see magma infill. Here's a good example here, approximately at 12:30 today, 12:30 afternoon today. You can see it continuing until now. Until now. Let's go one more. This is at Crater Lake, Cleetwood Cove, Oregon. Look what's going on. The entire page is covered. The entire page is covered. Let's go to our next slide here. This is Glacier Peak. Or this will be Glacier Peak as soon as it loads again. Folks, I was not expecting that to happen. I loaded this page an hour and a half ago, and now PNSN has taken it down. This was Glacier Peak. That really bothers me to no end. Well, let's go and show you another one. Okay, let's go and show you another one here. Let's go here and try to show you Mount Baker and see what's going on at Mount Baker. Now, yesterday, when I checked Mount Baker, it was literally non-existent. Look at today. This constitutes 5 p.m. Pacific time, just after we came on the air, just before we came on the air. Let's go back and show you earlier today and last night. I'm kind of surprised to have seen that because yesterday they didn't show anything. See, they didn't show anything. They either turned it off or shut down the instrument to where you couldn't see anything. But look what is happening now. There's distinct magma infill going on. And we have spikes that you can't see the curlicue on very well because of the heavy magma infill going on. But I believe these spikes are related to steam venting. Okay, that is Mount Baker. Let's go to another one here. This is Ellsberg, or excuse me, not Ellsberg. This is Ellensburg, okay? This is Eastern Washington. Ellensburg, Eastern Washington. Look at the magma infill going on this slide. Isn't that incredible? Magma infill going on. And let's go back to the day before yesterday. Or day before today, I'm sorry. This depicts the 14th, which would have been 2 days ago. The magma infill has been going on for quite some time. Quite some time. And this is Eastern Washington. This is Eastern Washington. Now, I want to go back here and show you something else here. Yes, they had a 2.7 magnitude earthquake near Mount Vernon today. Okay, let's go back. All right, good. Let's try to bring up Mount Hood. Now, I still think we can get Mount Hood here, if I'm not mistaken. We tried to show you Eastern Washington and Eastern Oregon. This is Mount Hood right now. You see some magma infill going on. Let's take it back to last night and earlier this morning. Okay, this is a glitch in the machine. That happens quite a bit as of late anyway. You can see the magma infill going on in Mount Hood and through the magma tubes underneath the volcano. You can see it, it's clear. The magma itself isn't clear, but the data is. It's overwhelming data of what is going on at Mount Hood today. This was last night, starting at 5 o'clock and ongoing through the rest of the day into the night and all day today. until we came on the air today. It's very apparent what's going on there. Now, we got some flack off the air last night from people that I won't identify that said, oh, but Ron, you are wrong. You're putting out false information. There's no magma problems anywhere. Really? I don't understand how they can even say it. The other day, I saw a post that somebody had a question that somebody had for USGS in regards to Mount Rainier and Mount St. Helens about what was going on, because they had gotten all sorts of differing information and that USGS had not been clear on what was going on at those two mountains. So I chimed in with the information that I know is the truth. And the USGS person the other day told me that I didn't know what I was talking about, that there was nothing going on at Mount Rainier or Mount St. Helens. Really? It is clear if someone searches for the information that they're going to find it. I believe I told you last night about the information. I told them that there was a lahar going down. There had been a lahar that had gone down the flank of Mount Rainier and that had caused damage over there. The ground, the ice and snow moved down the side of the mountain because of the lahar. Then I explained the reason for the lahar was that there was magma up inside the mountain and it had heated up the ice and snow directly on the ground, and it slid down the flank of the volcano, which caused the problems that they still have. And they have never reopened the park as of yet at Mount Rainier because of all the debris that the lahar caused. But the park personnel and USGS are denying that it was related to volcanism. They're calling it a landslide. But they're also not letting anybody near it. They don't want anybody to feel the ground and realize what is going on. Because the magma beneath the surface is heating it up. And yet they don't want anyone to know it. It's a sad state of affairs when our own government, our own agencies try to hide the truth. It's like there is no truth in them. There's only so much information that you can hide. And then the public is going to find out about it on their own. And then the agencies are going to wonder, my gosh, how did that get out? Just like that agent or that employee from USGS that told me I didn't know what I was talking about. And I explained what I was talking about, and he did not reply to that. Of course not, because he doesn't want to admit that there are problems. I wish that people would take responsibility. That's what I wish. Is it going to happen? We don't know. We don't know. I told you about what San Francisco had done in regards to the coronavirus. I just came upon a video that said that Austria was imposing a curfew and 1,000 people are infected in Austria. That's their coronavirus update. It's incredible. people all over the world are being affected by this coronavirus, and we're going to be talking about that again in a very few minutes. What I'm going to do now is try to take you to the I'm going to take you and show you information that is going on right now. But first, I want to bring up our chat room here so that I can be a part of what is going on with you folks as well. And wouldn't you know, as soon as I brought it up, it went away and it just came back. How about that? Anyway, I want to tell everybody hello here. Hurricane Heather Evans. The truth makes folks mad. Facebook is holding your account for review because you post the truth. That's true. And I'm sorry that you're going through this. Late last year, I was put in Facebook jail for 24 hours because I was telling the truth also. Good. iMouse said my face just froze, but that's going well. You'll be right back. Okay, that's great. I appreciate it. I'm back. I'm here. Let's see. Yes, they took down some of the president's posts. That does not surprise me at all. Nothing surprised me. It really doesn't. Susie, welcome. Hi. It's good to see you too. Doobie, Pamela's here. Bill's here. Hurricane Heather's here. Awesome. Hurricane Heather, do we need to name another hurricane after you? Is that what you're trying to tell us here? Bill, it's good to see you. I'm Alf, it's good to see you. Sheila, Susie's here. Awesome. Love to see Susie. TLO, good to see you, my friend. Thank you for being with us. Let's see who else is here this wonderful day. Doobie's here. I'm putting out truth, and Doobie gets your blood going. That makes your blood boil that I tell the truth. I'm sorry. Dorothy, it's good to see you. Yeah, no magma. Guess what? There's magma. They just don't want us to know about it. It's incredible. Dorothy, Connie's here. Everybody's here. That is so cool. Arlo's Cafe. Hello. Oh, that's awesome. We have a great team here. Blessed is here. How about that? See who else. See if there's anybody else here. Times, they're changing. Yes. Yes, they are. And thank you for being here. That's the only good thing in life is that things continue to change. That way you're not too bored, right? Richard Lyles is here. That's so cool. Anyway, I just welcomed everybody here. I want to welcome everybody here that's here now and anybody else that might join us during this broadcast or during any delayed broadcast tonight, later tonight or tomorrow or whenever you might see this broadcast. We have people all over the world. My dear friend up in Canada is monitoring this program. And many times, I'm sorry about that, there's some crumbs here I've just picked up. She lives in New Brunswick, Canada, and she watches our program. We have people in Saskatchewan. We have people up in Quebec. We have people over in British Columbia. Everybody, we appreciate you being here. No, Doobie, I know you're not mad at me. I love you, Doobie. You're cool. You're awesome. Good evening, Linda. Welcome. Anyway, you guys are important to what we do. And that's one reason we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys. And like I told you a long time ago, that I started here all but a year ago. Within another few days, it'll be a year, April 3rd. And I started here because our friend said he wasn't going to be doing his show much longer. And I was told that he wasn't going to be doing his show. He said it as much. So I thought there's got to be a better way, because if he's not going to do it, I'm going to do it. And I've been here ever since. That's how I got started. But I'm always going to be here unless they shut me down, and that's a possibility, especially after tonight, because there are more things that I need to share with you, and some of them are not very pleasant. Okay. I talked to you about the Rose Canyon Fault. Now we showed 2 videos about the Rose Canyon Fault. We explained that the Rose Canyon Fault could be activated after Cascadia, because the Cascadia quake is going to activate the San Andreas, which will activate almost everything up and down the coast of California, including the San Andreas itself. And there's a good chance the Rose Canyon Fault could get hit. And it wouldn't surprise me. Now, I was going to wait until later in the broadcast to share this with you, but I'm going to do it now. Okay. Salt Lake City, Salt Lake County is basically closing down. This comes from the Salt Lake Tribune. Salt Lake County restaurants and bars are to close. Takeout may be an option. Says it will be an option. Stores say supplies will keep coming in, so shop responsibly. Now, we are going to continue to get information from the Salt Lake Tribune and other news organizations. And so we're going to continue to spotlight information as we get it, not just from the Salt Lake Tribune, but from organizations throughout the country and throughout the world. But they're promising me that they're going to continue to stay in force and share information with the public as long as they can, and especially during this heightened time that is concerning right in front of us, literally. But this article says that restaurants and bars in Salt Lake County will halt all sit-down service beginning Monday tonight at 11 p.m. Mountain Time. Mayor Jenny Wilson announced this is an effort to curb the spread of the coronavirus. Just like San Francisco is shutting the entire area down, affecting 6.7 million people in that area. Mayor Wilson here in Salt Lake, along with Gary Edwards, Executive Director of the Salt Lake County Health Department, issued a public health order which prohibits all dine-in food service, whether inside or outside the establishment, for 30 days. 30 days. Businesses can continue to operate takeout, drive-through, and pick up food service with online or telephone transactions as the preferred method of payment. Cash exchanges are discouraged. Staff who take cash or credit payments will be required to use cleansing measures between each transaction. Customers will not be allowed into the eating establishments except to pick up orders. Delivery from third-party companies like Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Lyft will be permitted, but there must be no person-to-person contact. And employees of these services must not work if they present any symptoms of illness. The order affects every aspect of food service from restaurants and bars in Salt Lake County, of which I am a part. Grocery stores and cafeterias must eliminate seating areas as well as any other opportunity to congregate. This is according to a county news release. Hotel restaurants may deliver room service to a patron's door or curbside. Mobile food trucks and carts are allowed with some modifications. In addition to the restaurant restrictions, Salt Lake County is prohibiting mass gatherings over 50 people, limiting groups to no more than 10, and requiring businesses to implement social distancing or staying about 6 feet away from the other person. In a Salt Lake County video this morning, movie theaters will need to monitor how many people are going into each screening. While people in the same family can sit together, they must be seated away from others. In regards to the movie theaters, I got a note. In fact, let me try to bring this up so I can read directly from that memo that I got yesterday. It's an important memo, actually. It's a very important memo. Wow, I just checked my email. I just opened my email and I've got a email from Mike Adams here. That's interesting. I'll check that out in a little while. Okay, just bear with me for a second. I'm going through my emails, but I wanted to read this to you directly from the movie theater's email here. Here it is. Megaplex movie theater guests. Megaplex is what they call these large movie theaters here in Salt Lake County. Okay, this is what this email says. In response to the evolving COVID-19 health situation, the Larry H. Miller Movie Complex Theaters is taking proactive steps in the best interest of our guests and our team members. All Megaplex theaters remain open and are making operational adjustments based on the best information available for health safety experts. The following adjustments are being implemented effective immediately and will continue until further notice. We are limiting capacity per each auditorium at no more than 75 guests, sanitizing each occupied seat between showtimes, refunding pre-purchased Megaplex tickets for any films that have been rescheduled by Hollywood studios, including Mulan, New Mutants, Antlers, Fast and Furious, A Quiet Place 2, Peter Rabbit 2, The Runaway, James Bond, No Time to Die, The Lovebirds, and The Artist's Wife. Working with our ticketing partners, including Fandango and Atom Tickets, to ensure applicable refunds for Megaplex guests. Scaling back freshly prepared and perishable food items in the food court. Rescheduling or refunding clients or organizations that are hosting corporate events, business meetings, or parties for any group larger than 100 attendees. Based on the best practices recommended by health safety experts, below are some of the many proactive steps that we are taking to address the situation. We have purchased and added multiple hand sanitizing stations located in prominent areas throughout our theaters and our event spaces for guests and employee use. Enhancing our nightly deep cleaning standards and protocols. Added to the frequency of cleaning and disinfecting of high traffic areas throughout the day. Wearing latex gloves. We are cleaning and sanitizing chairs, armrests, and seat trays. Sanitizing door handles, counters, touchscreens at the box office, and self-ticketing kiosks, freestyle Coke machines, and railings and other surfaces. Extra attention to cleaning and sanitizing our public restrooms, keeping door handles, doors, baby changing stations, and faucet handles clean, maintaining servicing touchless soap containers and hand dryers for added protection. Increased signage to encourage proper hand washing techniques for guests and employees. Expanding employee training on frequent and proper hand washing techniques. Also, wearing latex gloves while preparing food. We appreciate the extraordinary steps that so many people are taking to help us keep us all safe. On behalf of the entire Megaplex Theaters team, we look forward to seeing you at the movies. We'll be ready. That's coming from the Megaplex Theaters here in Salt Lake County, and I'm sure throughout the state of Utah. I'm not sure whether Megaplex goes into other states or not. Now, just as I was coming on the air, I ignored a phone call from our school district here near where I live. This message is for district parents and guardians. The Board of Education and the administration wish to express appreciation for the community's support and efforts and diligence of our employees as we work together to address logistics related to the dismissal of all district schools and programs. As we work to implement this preemptive measure to prevent the spread of COVID-19, we will be updating families on a regular basis. Please keep in mind that government guidelines are changing rapidly and may impact current decisions. Here are the latest announcements. Student learning will continue at home. Details about specific plans for at-home student learning opportunities are forthcoming. The district schools will be making grade-specific learning guides available to students online or as hard copies, and families will have access to a web portal for learning resources. Each school will be communicating details directly to their students' families. Throughout the dismissal, teachers will be available during normal school hours by email, phone, or video conferencing. Please give teachers 24 hours to respond to questions. If you don't receive a response within that time frame, please call your school's main office or principal. The district will make computing devices and Wi-Fi hotspots available for checkout by students who don't have internet access at home. The equipment is reserved for students who demonstrate need. Students can inquire about bridging the digital divide program by calling the main office of their school. Families will be asked to sign an agreement that outlines the appropriate use of the devices. The Wi-Fi hotspots are filtered using the same technology used to restrict internet browsing on the district schools' campuses. Spring break to continue as scheduled. At this time, the district is not expecting an alteration to the current academic calendar. Plans for April 6th through the 10th spring recess will proceed as scheduled. There are no plans for extension of the school year because of what is going on. Instruction will continue throughout the 2-week dismissal, and schools will be supporting at-home student learning. The Board of Education has indicated there will be no need to extend the school year to accommodate makeup days. School activities, events postponed or canceled. In addition to dismissal of classes, all school-related athletic competitions, practices, activities, events, dances, and performances are canceled or postponed. Preschools, night classes, adult and community education classes are canceled. All in-person proctored events, exams have been postponed. And then it goes into school operating hours, etc., of which we let you know about that the last time that they sent me an update on what our school district is doing in regards to the COVID-19 break that they're putting forth and what is going on. Now, in regards to voting, President Trump and the White House have asked that states continue their process of voting, but making sure that people are not that close to each other to present a risk to people that want to vote. Today, a judge denied Ohio's governor call to reschedule the state's primaries because of the coronavirus. Like I said, they are trying to go ahead with the primary election schedules just how it is normally done. Let's see here. I was just going through here. I thought there was something that I needed to share with you, but that's not the case. Walgreens just sent me something. I don't go to Walgreens. I haven't for a while because I get my prescriptions from another pharmacy. Okay, I think that's about it. Okay, that's about it when it comes to the coronavirus notifications that I needed to share with you. And I will continue sharing information as long as I can find it available to share with you. Puka's here. Welcome, Puka. And Terry was saying, Terry Flores is here. Thank you for joining us, Terry. Mexico's got a lot of the coronavirus, and it is spreading like wildfire, as it is everywhere else. And by the way, folks, all the information that I've had since yesterday points to the coronavirus doubling in cases throughout our country and around the world. Terry says we need to close and guard our borders, and she is absolutely right. Just so you know, I watched the news conferences from the Canadian capital about the coronavirus and what Canada is doing. I also watched a news conference from British Columbia, from what those people are doing, and they are going to allow traffic, mostly trucks, in and out of Canada with food and such products for everybody that needs information, needs food, and needs other products to be able to survive during this coronavirus problem. Also, they are allowing other people to come from the United States, but they may have to be quarantined for about 14 days when they enter the country. And that's pretty much everywhere, including our southern border here in the United States. That's what's happening in regards to that. Now, we do have some other things here, and I'm going to pull that information up right now because I have a lot of information to share with you. Like I said, I was going to share this with you later on during the program, but I think it may take some time. And after I get through going through it with you, I want you to be thinking of questions that you want to ask me in regards to this information I'm going to share with you right now. Like I said, I was going to share it with you at the end of the program, but there's quite a bit of information here. Now, I've got questions for each one of you. One, do we understand where we are right now? Physically, where are you? Where are we physically in terms of the history of the world? I want you to be thinking about that, because our history, irregardless what our past president here in the United States has said, and he said it in regards to other countries, what has happened in the past doesn't matter. I take great umbrage with that because what has happened in the past does matter. We are still learning things about the virus that spread in the early part of the 19th century, the Spanish virus. And we're using it during even today. Second, or thirdly, do we understand what is happening right now? I want you to think about it. Do we really understand what is really going on? Because there are a lot of stories. There are a lot of stories going around. And honestly, there's so many different stories, I'm really wondering if we're really getting the truth. Now, what I'm going to say right now may prick some people's ears, but I'm going to tell you, every one of us need to get our house in order. Things are happening with the coronavirus and other events that are forthcoming, where what is happening may become very distasteful. We may not agree with it. Many of us won't agree with it at all. But at this time, we need to figure out where we're at. Where are we at mentally, emotionally, and physically? Because that is going to decide how our response, our own response to what is going on, and what we're going to do about it. Now, while I was growing up, if the nation ever did call for a state of national emergency, that it would kick off the start of the end of all that we have become used to and all that we have been warned about all of our lives. During my life, I thought World War would be the end of everything that I had known and loved. And I think that is the case with most of us. We all don't want to have wars. Now that the state of emergency is in place, literally all over the world, and most of us know and realize that, this is going to kick off the start of everything else that we've been warning you about and warning the world, and what our parents told us about as we were growing up. We thought we were going to have to be worried about World War III, that Russia was going to attack us with a bomb. Yeah, we were worried about that. Deathly worried in some cases. My wife just told me that there's something wrong with our dog's eye. And surgery just sent me a note too. Unreal. All right. All right. Anyway, we seem to be seeing the crash of the entire world as we know it. Yeah. Between having cities, states, and counties all over the United States and all over the world locked down, we thought it was bad over in Italy, and yet we're seeing it right here in our own country. The stock market continued to slap in the downward motion even today. As of Friday, we all thought maybe it would have a chance of remaining calm and the stock market would not collapse. Well, it slammed again against the bottom of the barrel earlier today. We don't know what's going to happen with the stock market. But we're seeing the crash of the world as we know of it. The rise of the new world, as someone would say, from the ashes of the world that we once knew, the rising of the phoenix to all of us, and most of us have dreaded the new world order. I hope it doesn't happen. I pray it doesn't happen. I think all of us agree on that. But the timing is seemingly perfect. The communists in our own government here in the United States, forcing the present way of life we have now to one that is so foreign to us. Yeah, the Democrat communists are doing that. Our freedoms are becoming destroyed and are being destroyed. Shackles are being placed upon us. All this coinciding with a pestilence and life-destroying sickness that is seemingly devastating our lives and the lives of people from around our planet. And yet this is according to biblical text and other religious texts from all over the world. Now, I can't help but wonder if this isn't the start of all that we were told was going to befall us because of our unrighteousness. That's what the scriptures told us. The mainstream media was asking our president this afternoon about his health and questioned whether or not if he had really undergone a test for the coronavirus. Yeah, there's a couple of reporters that were questioning his veracity of telling the world and the rest of this country that he had gotten the virus test. Vice President Pence said he had not gotten it because White House doctors, and he said there's a lot of them, told him he didn't need it at this point in time because he hadn't been around as many people as the president had. Now, do we need to watch for ourselves and other world leaders to get sick or die, or all of a sudden not be seen any longer? That's what happened over with that leader of North Korea. That's what happened with the leader over in Italy. That's what happened to many other leaders around the globe. They have not been seen for quite some time. And now we wonder if they've all been going underground, including into government bunkers to hide away from the chaos that we're now seeing rising up even in our own United States and around the world. Some cities and counties, countries around the world, Italy, for example, city streets are almost barren from once teeming and bustling centers of business and social activity. Yesterday, I saw a video of Barcelona. There was hardly anybody out there. 3 people on the entire video were walking the streets. Barcelona had put a lockdown on. And I don't know why those 3 people were allowed out. I don't know. But are we going to watch and see our leaders disappear? And what are we going to do? As they go into bunkers to hide away from the chaos that we're now seeing rising up in our world and around our country, in fact. When we start reopening, when we start reporting the stories about the locusts covering the earth. Yes, in past weeks, we've had stories that we have posted on YouTube, here on the Freedom Revolution Network, and our Facebook page. Locusts throughout the Middle East and going into Europe. That brought to my memory of the cricket infestation that occurred in the late 1800s here in the state of Utah. The pioneers here in the Salt Lake Valley prayed for relief, and seagulls flew over the valley and started eating the crickets, flying off and regurgitating them into the lake, and then going back and eating more. And in fact, now there are stories of, I don't remember the kind of bird, that's eating the locusts and doing the same thing that happened with the seagulls. But the locusts are plaguing parts of our world. And suddenly we have these birds, just like they did in the 1800s, consuming the locusts. Now remember the 10 plagues of Egypt? You may all get the idea that I am talking about. The plagues coming upon us. With the recent crashing numbers in the stock market in the last week or so, we seem to be seeing the crashing of the old world and bringing in the mark of the beast, which has been talked about. The seeming crash of society as we know it. The end of the week this past week, we heard talk of our internet crashing for up to 10 days because of the supposed coronavirus. We citizens of our world, as we know it now, are not going to be able to communicate with each other if that happens, as we have in the past. These are the real fears that my own friends are pointing out. Many of us seem to be scared, and being truthful, I'm also getting to feel a bit uneasy about this myself. Now, being told that our banks may be coming to the point of not having cash to back them up, we have said in the past, when we talked about all of us getting our emergency preparedness items in our homes ready in case of an emergency. Oh, unreal. One of my friends that some of you may know over in Denver, Carolyn Martin, that's been on our program chat off and on for quite some time. She's been ordered to bed rest, or not bed rest, I'm sorry, a 14-day social isolation due to upper respiratory infections and a harsh cough. She's not permitted to go to work, worship, stores, classes, nothing. She says she's getting cabin fever herself. But anyway, we've told you in past weeks and months to have cash in your emergency supply kit in case you needed it, because nobody would be able to get cash from the ATMs. And as you already know, we are already becoming a cashless society, unfortunately. And that's sad. Now, I've been warned myself over the years about having money at home, and everybody was worried about money being stolen from our homes. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but I hope you have cash outside of your bank account that you can rely on for yourself. Now, I just read you a report just a little bit ago about restaurants and bars closing down here in Salt Lake. And the article even pointed out that buying items with cash may or may not let you do it. Okay? Well, as I was growing up, I was told that there may become a time when society was going to break down during an emergency and no one would be able to withdraw cash. I've talked about this. It's always a good idea to have cash on hand within your own person or your family. And I think that time has come. When I first started hearing talk of a global currency, and I heard and saw talk of Bitcoin coming out and becoming popular in some circles, I shook my head. Now real talk coming about a global governance, a depopulation, population control as a result of this coronavirus. And to be honest, this is now a very deep concern for me. The rise of the New World Order system pisses me off. The deep state and the worldwide European communist-style government is being forced upon us. The same kind of system foretold in biblical text. Many of you have known me for a period of years, probably saw me as I laughed this off throughout the years, but down deep inside me, I wondered whether it would ever happen. But look where we are now, and it's happening so darn fast. And I'm wondering what is really happening and why. Now, I hope I have your attention and that you're listening. The time of the end of times, as we know it, I think has come. Probably more sooner than I honestly thought it would. Now, I'm not trying to spread fear porn to you. I am asking in all seriousness. Are you ready? Look around you. What do you see? Now, it seems to me that biblical prophecy has come to pass. President Trump's recently released Deal of the Century last year, which recognized Israel's full sovereignty over the site where Jerusalem is, now the center of what is all good in the world in some circles. It's hated by others. Just exactly like King Cyrus, this declaration by President Trump also opens the door for the Jews to build a temple. Now, in my circle of friends over the years, this was looked upon as a sign of Christ coming again. But it is now up to us to take the next step forward. I think, in my mind, that this is a watershed point in our history. Once we bring the altar to the Temple Mount, even for the sacrifice of one lamb, and it looks like that might happen, there will be no turning back. The prophesied next step is inevitable. The proverbial domino effect is already in effect. It's already happening. For the last year that we've been broadcasting information about what's been going on here in the United States and around the world in regards to earthquakes, storms, natural disasters, pestilence going on all over the world, we've been trying to reach as many people here and around the world as possible. And now this program is an international event. Every night, people from all over the world watch this program in our chat rooms. Now we're seeing a lockdown of our cities, states, and countries around the world. We've been seeing solar flares, CMEs, pole shift, meteors, near-Earth objects, and fireballs in the sky all over the world, and all manner of things that we never thought we would be facing. Now, I can't help but wonder, being so close to the data as I am and as I'm trying to show you, that we have all this data that we have and the time frames that we're seeing it. If this isn't the start of the biblical prophecies coming to fruition that we've all been told and warned about. Are we not seeing the collapse of societies as well? I wondered that from the time I put on a uniform a lot of years ago. And some of the stuff I saw then, and it's only gotten worse. Now, I also want to remind you something that was said in the presidential news conference this afternoon. Remember, fear is useless. Fear is useless. I want to admonish everyone within the sound of my voice. Stay calm. Keep a clear mind. Keep your mind clear so you can stay focused on what you need to be doing. And keep preparing. Don't stop. You're going to need to be prepared to protect and feed your families. We do not need to be those that are out there panic buying. If we are prepared, ye shall not fear. That's what the scriptures teach us. If you are prepared, ye shall not fear. If we prepared and gotten our houses in order before the occurrence of these events, we will be able to stay calm, cool, and collected. We will have a collective mindset to be able to go about our business matter-of-factly. And we will project that same attitude from us and to everyone around us. Again, I'm going to ask that fear and panic have no place in our lives. Now, I'm going to end this part of the presentation tonight by going back to where we started. Do we really understand where we are right now? Where are you physically? Where are we physically in terms of the history of the world? Do we fully understand what is happening right now, here around us and around the world? Do we really understand what is really going on? Get our homes and houses in order. Tonight, if you have not already done it, I'm going to ask you to please write down your emergency preparedness plan. Write it down, what you and each member of your family is going to do during this crisis and after the crisis. Consider day-to-day operations in your own homes and write it down. Second, get your emergency preparedness kits in order. And I'm going to tell you, do it now. Not tomorrow, not the next day, but do it now. We need to pay close attention to these national emergencies and what comes along with it. Because what comes along with it, we may not like. We may not like. I want us to enjoy each other. I want us to know what is going on around us. I don't want us to get side smacked in the side of the head and not understand what happened. Lisa said, Puka and all my family got stuck in a small Hawaii town due to flash floods. My niece needs her pharmacy meds. We stopped and prayed scripture and asked for help. In 5 minutes, a man came with drugs. See how the Lord answers prayers? Scooter Pie, I'm glad your seeds are planted. Thank you. I hope everybody can start doing that now. If you can't do it outdoors, put them in pots. Put them in pots. If you don't have a pot, make one. Use a small cardboard box and fill it full of dirt. Put it on a coaster, put it on a small plate, a dessert type plate, and then water it. Water that seed and watch it grow. Okay. Cherokee says, I hear you, it's hard not to shed a tear. Our kids, especially little ones, feel the vibes. You're absolutely right. When it comes to our children and what we've done in our home, because we have a granddaughter, we have gotten toys. Some new, some we got from a thrift shop, a thrift store. They're in like brand new condition. So we have games and toys and things for her to play with. We have small books that we can read stories to, or stories from, to hear, so she can hear these stories. And it's fun because she loves the stories and she'll bring us the books. We've also got coloring books. We've also got printer paper where we have printed up these things from coloring books, these pages from coloring books, so we don't have to use the coloring book itself. And she loves doing that. I urge you to give your kids things to do so they're not going to be as stressed out as the rest of us. And I urge you to keep a cool tool. Okay? Egg cartons, small boxes, whatever you can to plant your food with, plant your seeds. We used egg cartons when I was a kid. Now it's a good idea even now today. TLO, I know you're pretty well prepared, and I'm glad. And I'm glad you've got a good defense posture, and I hope everybody has a good defense posture. Jenny says she's got to do a renewal interview for her food stamps. I hope they do it over the phone because I don't think you can see anybody face to face for quite a while. Marshall said he's going to build raised beds. His garden was flooded out twice last year. A lot of people's gardens and farms were flooded out by floodwaters. It's sad. Yeah, you could even get to cemeteries to decorate graves, and that's sad. Folks, I want you to help each other. If you live near each other, I hope you can get to know each other very well. Get to know your neighbors. Now, you don't have to necessarily share all of your preparedness items with them. But if you are good friends with them, you may have already shared information. That's not a problem. Do it. Everybody needs help. Linda says kids love to march around in a line and clapping to the music, or the beat of the music. That's so cool. That's cool. My granddaughter has Disney videos, and we have things on the channels on the TVs that she can watch. She loves marching around to Mickey Mouse songs. My wife and I try not to talk about what's going on except late at night. That way our other kids don't necessarily have to hear it either, because they don't want to hear it. They should, they're adults, but they don't even think about it. Unfortunately, it's just my wife and I doing it. Right now is a great time for kids to learn new skills. Jenny said it, not me, but I agree with it. As with preparedness of any kind, help our children prepare. They can have their own little backpack with some of their fun things, their games, their coloring crayons and everything else. So they feel like they are a part of the family preparedness effort. If you think you're going to have to bug out at some point in time, you can start bugging out inside your home while you're sheltering in place during this time period. Set up a tent without stakes in your front room, in the family room, and let the kids be part of that. Because when they have to go out and bug out, they're used to being intense. Yes, I know, TLO, and I appreciate you having your eyes on Scarlett and her family. Bless you, sir. I really appreciate you. I'm sure she does as well. She's a great lady. Her and her family are wonderful people. Leah says, anyone play a musical instrument? Guitar, bongos, triangles, piano, keyboards, harmonica. I have a harmonica. I played the saxophone. Susie says she's so freaking happy with kids to play with. That's so neat. That's so neat. But there's plenty to do. And now's the time to do it. Now's a great time. Yeah, we're supposed to get some rain too. We got some clouds that came in today. Get some rain this week, we're told. Susie says she's a mandolin girl. A mandolin. My father had one when I was a little boy. And you sing. Maybe we're going to have to get you to sing us a song. Folks, there's a lot of things going on. And I've talked about a lot of stuff tonight. I hope that I have been a help to you. I really do. I hope I've been a help to you. In some way, encouraging you and giving you more options and more things to think about. Because this is a time period that's going to try our souls. Well, that's cool. I'm glad Dwayne's going to be on tonight. Pamela said Dwayne's going to be on later tonight at 9 p.m. with the show he's going to call The Night Talk. That's wonderful. What he's going to do is have people call into his show and give them like 5-minute limits to be able to say what's on their mind. I think that's a great idea. Thanks, Lisa. That's what I want the show to be. A place where we can give information to everybody. And everybody is better off after the show. Doobie, I'm thankful for all of you too. You guys have given me the oomph, the kick in the butt to make sure that everything is done, that you have the information. Access through Christ, thank you. Yes, we've got the sound fixed for now. We're waiting to get a filter in the mail, but now I don't know when it's even going to come. And yes, I'm glad I look great. Yes, I got a sports coat on. And I've got a pin here, an award that I got a long time ago. A long time ago when I worked in San Diego, there were things that I did for the Department of Defense. And this is a Department of Defense Personal Achievement Medal that I was awarded a long time ago. Dorothy, I hope that you're good to go. And I want to thank you for being part of our lives. Everyone here, you and Connie and everybody, have made me a better person. And you guys have helped me to prepare as well. It's been a joint effort. It really is. It's a pleasure to work with you. Yeah, I know about that coronavirus climate change crap. Your governor is an idiot. I'm sorry to say, she's just a total idiot, along with Inslee in Washington State. There's a handful of others, including Dipstick Newsom down in California. Folks, if you want to call in, we've got 15 minutes to the end of the show. Pamela just posted the call-in number, 1-669-900-6833. Our meeting number is 238-494-3128. You're welcome to call into the show. We'd be glad to have you. Hey, old buddy, you're on the air. Well, actually, In fact, let me turn off my Bluetooth and you'll really be on the air. Okay, guys, we have our buddy and pal. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, this is Mr. Surgery 68, man. How's everybody doing?
Surgery just called. He's up on the north side of Salt Lake from me. We talk all the doggone time. Every day we talk.
Yeah, pretty much. Sometimes 4 or 5 times a day.
Yep. My throat is dry.
Awesome earthquake family like this, man.
Yeah. We've got a great family, don't we, Surgery?
Oh, hell yeah, we do.
Oh, yeah. It's the best.
Yep. Absolutely.
I was just telling people how thankful I am for everybody being a part of our show, exchanging information like we do, and helping each other. It's awesome.
I believe that is going to be the whole key.
Yeah, it is the whole key. It is definitely the key to surviving this and anything else.
Right. So at my local hospital, I won't tell you which one it is, but somewhere here in the Salt Lake Valley area, we got the message today that all elective surgeries are now canceled and are going to be that way for an indefinite period of time. They don't have any idea. They've set aside and have taped off 2 operating rooms to deal with corona infected patients. And I imagine that this will be coming across other hospitals as time moves on. But as for me, I had open heart surgery about 9-10 months ago, roughly. And all the doctors that I work with have pretty much told me to be exceptionally careful with this bug and not to get exposed by it, because it could be my potential demise due to the type of surgery that I've had, even though I'm back walking up the sides of mountains and being a wild man like I normally am. So I've had to really curtail my medical activities at work, and probably going to do so more as time goes on if more cases come into the hospital.
Oh, wow. Yeah, when you told me that they had detailed you out of patient care, I'm going, holy cats.
Yep. Well, I did that to myself.
Oh, I know you did. I know you did. But the fact of the matter is, you know, I care about you as a dear friend and as a man and everything else.
Man. You bet, yeah.
But when you first said that, I'm going, oh my gosh, what happened? And then I remembered that you had told me about your health condition. I'm going, well, that's a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so Pam Gaspar says, where have you been lately? He's been hiding.
Been a slave at work.
Yeah.
I work weird hours. I work from 10 in the morning till 8 at night, so it makes it kind of hard to be with you guys during the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Scooter Pie just said no elective surgeries at Evergreen Health in Kirtland, Washington either. So they've stopped that. I think they're going to stop it everywhere.
Yep. I think they're just going to have to.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to, personally in my own mind, I think locking it all down is probably the way to go.
Yeah. Now, we've got you on the air talking about this. I don't want to forget about talking about this in particular. I've had a lot of people ask me why the National Guard are setting up MASHs and setting up test sites to be able to do coronavirus testing. Let me, if you don't already know, let me remind you that the National Guard is what they call a CBRNE crew that is responsible to try to keep us safe in the event that there is poisonous gases, toxic gases, and anything else that might harm us. So they have their crews. Then we have CST crews out there that help set up MASHs, Mobile Army Surgical Hospital.
That's what's happening at University of Utah on the campus there.
Yes, and it's happening all across the nation. Now, why are they doing it, I've been asked? Because if you were to walk into a brick and mortar hospital with the coronavirus, you would be contaminating that building.
Yep.
With the mobile army surgical hospitals being set up and coronavirus patient beds being set up in these surgical units that the military is setting up, they're going to be able to take care of you in as good or better way than the hospital will. And you're not going to be contaminating the hospital.
One other thing too that folks need to think about, in the last few years, especially being in this field, I've really noticed it. The shortage of nurses, doctors, support people, they run these facilities way too thin.
Yeah.
But they do that because, you know, they just don't make enough money to do that kind of thing.
Right.
Which is sad in my mind.
It is sad. It's very sad. But we want to make sure that everybody knows what is going on.
That's right.
These mashes are not set up to kill people.
No.
And that's the stuff, the answers that I got. A lot of people told me, oh, they're going to kill us all. No, they're not.
No.
These units have been trained to save people's lives.
Yep.
We have used these units when we've done disaster drills all over this country in 39 states where I've been.
Yep. They're key.
They're going to save people's lives.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you that.
Yep.
But don't be scared of a mash. If you see a testing unit and you don't feel well and you think you ought to be tested, don't be afraid of these people.
No, definitely not.
They're going to help you. And if
Right.
you have to go to a mash, you don't feel good,
Yep.
and you have to be hospitalized at the mash,
Right.
then you will be better off. Now, Pam just said, I've been censored on YouTube. That doesn't
Pam
surprise
or
me.
Ron.
Yeah.
Or both of you.
Yeah. YouTube is censoring anything to do with the coronavirus. And I don't give a flying rat's butt about it.
Yeah.
You know, in fact, I'll tell you this, I don't give a rat's flying frosty keister.
Boy, that's a lot of F's in there without the main one.
Yeah, I don't give a flying rat's frosty keister.
No, me neither.
Let YouTube be a butthead, because that's what they are. That's why I do not broadcast on YouTube. Yes, my broadcast goes on to YouTube, it goes on to Twitch, it goes on to DLive, it goes on to Periscope, and it goes over to iHeart and Pandora. So everybody can get me at any time. You know, screw YouTube.
Oh yeah.
And
All
that
these
other one
idiots
I was
that are
about to
doing
say
that.
too.
Right. So I'm on DLive at TNS, and I had a little UFO emoji sticker,
Yeah.
and come to find out that they've taken that one off. They
Oh,
banned it
really? No
Yeah.
kidding.
just because it's a UFO, and it asks, "Do you believe?"
Jeez.
Believe that?
I believe it. I believe anything anymore. Gosh. Hey.
You got a cold going on there.
No, I had a cold. I'm getting over it. I feel so much better now. It's not even funny.
Well, that's good.
It just talking dries my throat out. And so I just finished one bottle and now I've got two more here. I got two more water bottles here, guys.
Just lining them up.
Yeah, I go through 2 bottles of water easily on one of these shows.
Right.
But, oh
Hey,
well.
so one of the things that I've been munching down on, helping to boost my immunity every day, is I've been taking this emergency immune plus stuff.
And it's good.
I
I'm
take
taking it too.
One of these a day. It's like 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C. You can only take it once a day.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's been keeping me healthy. I haven't been sick yet, knock on wood.
Yeah, it's true. That's true. Larry Smith, it's good to see you here, brother. Larry Smith, in case you guys don't know it, lives down in Central America. And I met him months ago. I called him actually over on Messenger. That's the only way he and I can talk. And I've since got to know him, and Larry's a fine guy. Cheers, Larry.
Never have enough of those.
That's right. And one day after this whole sick crap is over, you and I are going to get together and do a few programs together.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. We need to.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. I've ordered some more stuff too. So.
Uh-oh, surgery's ordered more stuff. Look out.
Yeah. I ordered this little. I'm trying to think who the hell I ordered that from. Bushcraft something or other, but it's a little swing out stove. So you can do like a pot, or you can do kind of like a grill thing, and you can swing it out over the fire or back, and
that's a good thing.
Nice tool. Yeah.
That would be great.
Yep.
That will be cool. Love it.
Absolutely.
Love it, love it, love it. Anyway, we're coming to the end of our show, Surgery.
All right.
I'm glad we were able to bring you on the air because you're cool.
Oh, well, thanks, man.
I've been waiting to get you on the air for a while.
All right, so we're gonna have to do this again once all this BS gets done, and we can actually start making some videos and showing some folks some stuff.
Yeah. Pamela says, "How are you, Surgery?"
We're doing good. Make sure you guys come over to TNS once in a while and show Brother Mark some love over there.
We will.
On D Live.
We will. We'll do that. We'll do that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
he
folks.
Too. He's part of the other reporting processes, I feel like.
That's cool. I'm glad. I'm glad he's there. I'm honestly glad he's there.
Me too.
Anyway, folks, it's been a pleasure to have you here with us. We want to thank you for being with us. Gosh, doggone it. I hate the end of the shows. I do. When I have to say goodbye,
terrible, huh?
Yeah, it is. When I have to say goodbye, it's bad. Now I got my best friend here too. Yeah. Yeehaw!
It's fun, man.
Susie said next time she's going to sing for us. Woo, cool.
All right, okay.
That's great. Anyway, folks, thanks for being here with us. We really do appreciate it. God bless you, and please do know that we love you. And as Walter Cronkite would say, and that's the way it is. Monday, March 16th, 2020. For Emergency Management Associates, this is Surgery and Run. Have a great one, folks.
Good night, guys.
Good night, everybody. Here we go.
Yeah, all right.
Yeehaw!
Nice. Well, that was fun.
As soon as this closing video comes up here it comes.
Oh, that was very fun.
Went back off. We're going to get it up again.
Yeah, being on the air was not that really intimidating.
No, it's not.
Yeah. Of course, I used to do Touched by an Angel stuff all the time too. So.
Don't you love it?
I didn't have any speaking roles, but when I was a teenager.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. did some work for them.